my landlord, but it's a beautiful house. Thank you so much for coming to grace this place. We named this house as a house of Rizwan. So Rizwan is a very special name for Baha'is. It actually means, there are many meanings for Rizwan. One of the meanings is paradise. So I hope that you all have entered into this space of paradise.
And I hope that I will make it hell for you.
Paradise, yeah. So, anyway, I hope that those friends who just came, please help yourself with this is from the Mackenzie chicken rice, halal chicken rice. So, please help yourself. And of course, today, we are very privileged and honored to have, I call him the walking dictionary, because, he knows everything. So we are very fortunate to have Mr. Jamshed Fozdar be here and to share with us about especially because yesterday is a decoration of the bath, so I think he's going to touch on that as well. Yeah, Mr. Fozdar?
Let me see. I thought I brought something. Yes.
Yeah. So maybe you all can ask a question at the end.
As Susie here said, today is a very significant event. Actually, it is not today. It was yesterday. What happened yesterday, how many people know?
No, I don't understand.
Do you know that yesterday, in 1844, until May 23rd, the speed of human communication was that of a galloping horse, 40 miles per hour. Until that time. But on that date, the speed of human communication, you know what happened? It went with the speed of light. It went with the speed of light. And there was this guy, Morse, who tapped out the first message. And what was the message? It says, what has God wrong? So the United States pulled out a stamp in commemoration of it. And this is the stamp. 180. Just pass it around. So it's a very significant period that we are living now. Because after that time, we have not exceeded the speed of communication. Have we? Has anybody gone faster than the speed of light? Nobody. So the purpose of existence here, between thinking beings, is to find a way to progress. But progress alone is not enough. If you cannot progress with the rest, then that alone will only end as soon as you die. That is why the purpose of salvation, which is what the avatars come for, the Buddhas come for what? The Buddha need not, as you know, there was an argument with Brahma in the heavens, and he said, you see all these people, I don't want to go there, remember? And the Brahma says, please Lord, there are some who have less dust in the eye, go and preach the Dharma, right? Yes. So the whole purpose of the avatars coming here, they don't need to be enlightened, is to help us understand the purpose of life. And you cannot understand it individually. You must understand it collectively, because two heads are always better than one. Not better than my head, but other heads. Anyway, so then if the purpose of life is to progress, the question is, what is it all about? Why are we here? Who brought us here? How did we get here? The cosmos, you know? I mean, does it make sense? There is one law which is absolutely universal. Can anybody guess that law?
Live an orderly way of life
Beg your pardon, sir?
Live an orderly way of life with nature.
No. There is one law which can never be broken, which has never been broken.
Law
Huh?
of causality.
Absolutely right. The law of causality, which means everything you see must have a cause. Am I right?
Yes.
Nothing cannot bring out something. Absolute nothing cannot bring out something. Right? And you don't agree with that?
Okay.
Huh?
The law of cause and effect.
That is called the law of causality. That is, every effect must have a cause.
So my question come out is,
What?
my question is, the effects come after a cause.
If effect comes after a cause,
Cause.
then that effect which came after a cause would have a cause, isn't it? So what kind of a question is that?
Okay, then what effect a cause?
What is the effect of the cause?
Ah,
The cause's effect is another cause. Now tell me something. What was the effect that I see before you? Who caused it? Your parents, right? Yes?
that come to mind with chicken and egg, which one come first?
But whatever it is, there must be some cause. So it isn't that an effect has come before the cause, common sense. And whatever you see in the effect, if you see in the effect strength, if you see in the effect size, whatever brought that attribute in the effect must be more than what you see in the effect. Why? Because there is no such thing as 100% efficiency. Has anybody got 100% efficiency? No. There is always a little loss. So the effect is always smaller than the cause. Am I right?
Don't forget your.
You don't agree with that? My wife doesn't agree with that. You don't agree with that either?
Huh?
No, never mind. Anyway, so this is very important, because the problem today with the world is what cause has brought us about? How are we here? Why are we here? And each of us tries to answer this in a way depending on their background, right? Somebody will say, oh, some God brought us here. Somebody will say nature brought us here. Somebody will say an accident brought us here, whatever. But there must be a cause, right? Now, the cause has a corollary. You know what a corollary is? It's an adjunct of the cause. And that corollary says that whatever the effect, it cannot have the same degree of efficiency or amount or quantity as the cause. There is always a certain loss, right? Otherwise both cause and effect would be the same. So there is always a loss between the cause and the effect. Common sense, right? Has anybody heard of 100% efficiency anywhere? There's always a loss, right? So that means then that the effect, whichever way, whatever way, must be less than the cause in any direction, Now we know what brought about the monkey is by cohabitation with another monkey, right? Now, whether that monkey is cleverer than the father, we cannot gauge. We don't know. But what we can gauge is here. What brought about the thinking being, the thought. We are different from the monkey. Why are we different from the monkey? Because the monkey has a brain with a built-in instinctive pattern. In other words, however much a monkey can exercise his brain, he cannot create a bow and arrow or a spear to kill his enemy. Who's the enemy? The tiger or the leopard or somebody, right? So the monkey, as soon as he sees it, he's up a tree, right? What about this other one that looks like a monkey? That's very different, isn't it? We look like them, but we're very, very, very different, isn't it? Yes, we can blow the leopard and tiger to kingdom come, right? And this has been going on for millions of years, otherwise we wouldn't be sitting today, here, right? So then, we are very different from the monkey. Actually, there is a poem between the Buddha and the monkey. And the monkey says, the Buddha says to the monkey, in shape and form and this and that, how like the human form? Why buildest now? Why buildest not a resting place to hide thee from the storm? Then the Buddha says, in shape and form and this and that, yes, like the human form. But wisdom, chief boon, to me denied, has been your norm. So you can understand that there is, don't think that our stupid scientists, in Europe especially, have not tried to mate monkey and man. Yes, they've tried it many times. There's never been an ape man. Because what is different is not just the chemical aspect of it. There is an incremental difference. And that is what every religion talks about. The Buddha mentions about immortality. The soul is immortal. And he says immortality is its greatest treasure trove. In other words, death here doesn't stop it there. Christ says, how be it, very to gain the world, but lose your soul. Because you can't take the world with you. You know Alexander the Great? Who has not heard of Alexander? Everybody has heard of Sikandar, Alexander. He did a lot of conquests, Alexander. Then, surprisingly, he got malaria. And he had high temperature and he was about to die. So then he called his generals and said, come, I want to tell you something. And the generals had their casket ready also for him, he was going to die. They took the casket back to Greece. But he was going to die near India. So they said, what is it, General? He says, well, when I die, in my casket, you know the story. Please tell it.
No, please continue.
No, you tell it.
I don't have your style of gift of the gap.
He says, make 2 holes and put out my hands, 2 hands. He says, why? He says, I, Sikandar, conquered the world. Came in empty-handed and leaving empty-handed. So now you see, there is wisdom in that, isn't it? So nobody can take anything with him, right? Nobody, except myself. I won't tell you. You believe that? You believe everything. So there you are, you see, that, hello. So, the most important thing then is, as the Buddha says, get rid of this, get rid of this, get rid of this. It's not yours. Right? Jesus Christ says, how will it avail a man, very to gain the world, but lose his soul? Right? The same, every great avatar has mentioned the same. Why? Because if you look at the reality of man, he is a creature of 2 worlds. The Arabic word for that is Rohani and Jismani. At-takalam Arabi? No, you don't. Rohani and Jismani, you know that. So that means we are creatures of two planes. Now, why are we sitting here with electricity when about 10,000 years ago we were in a cave? What has brought us to this level that we have electricity, comfort, air condition, everything, isn't it? Can anybody tell me what has brought us here? Come on, think.
Wisdom.
Huh?
I guess what you said, wisdom.
No, 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 no,
That
no.
is what we have
No, no, no,
created
no,
for
no.
us.
No.
Civilization.
Something very, very different. Yes, yes, yes.
Intellect.
Huh?
Intellect.
No, that is the same thing.
Civilization.
No, that's a byproduct. Yes, what is it? What is it? Huh?
Imagination.
Huh?
Imagination.
Imagination has brought us here. I see.
God. What about
No.
desire?
When you study history, you study it in sections in different areas of the world, don't you?
Yes.
Have you heard of the Islamic civilization? Christian Judeo civilization? Persian Zoroastrian civilization? Right? You have heard all that. Hindu Buddhist civilization. So, why are they labeling these as civilizations? Because that's the only thing we've got here. That's what brought us here. That's why we have electricity. Because those created a sense of unity among human beings who believed in them. And with that unity, instead of killing each other, we began cooperating and we could bring the sun, even though the sun has set, right? So, the master human emotion is religion. Religion. It is the Latin word for that, from which it originates, is called religare. Religare means unite. So, we are about a religion. Where there is no religion, history does not show us sustained progress. Progress for a little while, yes, but not sustained progress. You follow? So the religion is a very important aspect of humanity's movement. Am I wrong? The greatest buildings are dedicated by religion. They are either mosques or pagodas or churches or this or that or whatever. You understand? So you can understand that we, the human beings, have two very important questions before us. And that is, what is the purpose of existence? What is the purpose of existence? If you ask a monkey, if you can talk to the monkey, he will say the purpose of existence is to proliferate, to eat, to sleep, and so forth. Has anybody got a cough lozenges to give to this lady? Has anybody got a cough lozenges to give to this lady? You have? So do I have to pay you to take it? So please take it. I'll wait for you to take the cough lozenge. Oh, you did? All right.
Thank you.
All right, and here, this guy is taking water. I don't think the water will help. It's poison. So then, there are two things in the human concept, in the human psyche, that first and foremost, it's a four-letter word. The Buddha mentioned it. It's called the mind, right? He says the mind is everything. This is Dhammapada. The mind takes possession of everything. And immortality is its greatest treasure trove. Dhammapada. So now, the mind is everything. The mind takes possession of everything. And immortality is its greatest treasure. If it was not, then we would be wasting our time, the monkeys would be better off. You understand? So now, all these avatars have talked about a stage for our progress beyond the physical. Jesus Christ said it very beautifully. He says, how will it avail a man were he to gain the whole world but lose his soul? Somebody would say, what do you mean by that? Christ was the crazy. But Christ was not crazy, because 2 billion people accept him, right? Out on every country, every road, every street. So he knew something that we have yet to learn. The Buddha knew something that we have yet to learn. Rasulullah knew something that we have yet to learn. So these in human history are guideposts for us. Now the reason they don't all come together is because all your teachers in the class don't come together in a single class, do they? Right? You don't know which ones to follow. But they come step by step. Right? That is one thing. So they don't come together, and also, if you know geography and so forth, we too have not discovered the world immediately. We have done it stage upon stage. We have gone to America after we have conquered Asia and Africa and all that. So it's like that. So therefore, you will find that each of these areas have had an avatar or a Rasul or an enlightener. You understand? And they have succeeded. Otherwise, anybody who knows the history of Rasulullah will find out that Rasul is Muhammad, okay? Rasul means a messenger in Arabic. And I'm now talking about Rasul Muhammad. Everybody is a Rasul. The Buddha is a Rasul, Christ is a Rasul, Moses was a Rasul, Baha'u'llah is a Rasul, Buddha was a Rasul, Moses, and all these were Rasuls, okay? They are more than Nabis. There's a big difference. But anyway, the point is this, that these people came from absolutely humble origins. Did Rasulullah go to any school? No. He could not even write. Right? He could not write. The first time that an angel came to talk to him and said,
Ikra. Ikra.
which means what?
Read.
Huh?
Read.
No, recite, not read. If he could write, he could read. Recite. Because he had to follow what the angel was saying. Ikat, you know. So then you can see the same with Jesus Christ. I don't know whether you know that in one of the Gospels, you know, Jesus' mother was not wed to Joseph before Jesus was born. Now this is, don't take my word for it, it's in the Quran. And the rabbis, the Jewish rabbis, went up to the mother to say, what kind of a woman are you, you know, having children without wedlock? And the Quran says, speak to the child. Speak to the child. And the child spoke. Quran says that. You understand? So who are you to deny it? Right? And what did the child say? He says, I have been commanded to pray, to serve God all my life. And what else did the Quran say about the child? He says, when grown as a small boy, he fashioned doves of clay and gave them life. Remember that? Yes? So, 100 billion Muslims accept this, right? And it is not because they like it, it's in the Quran. Jesus Christ was told by two sisters who believed him, saying, my brother Lazarus is dead. How long? 4 days he's been dead. Please come. What happens? He goes there and says, Lazarus, come forth. And what happened? Here is Lazarus coming out of the grave, isn't it? With the clothes of the dead. So we are now talking. The Buddha said did the same thing. How many times he was tried to be poisoned? How many times elephants were sent to him? None of that. So the manifestations of God have a very single mission. And until their time is there, as the Buddha so beautifully said, having accomplished the task set me, I now look for rest. When he was 18. So every manifestation of God has a set time. And they come at different places. And they immediately acknowledge the one that came before. Like the teacher in the 3rd standard will say to the students, remember what your teacher in the 2nd standard taught, right? So Jesus said the same thing. He says, had he known Moses, he would know me, for he spake of me. So religion is not a fixed product. It's a progressive phenomenon. It moves. Why is it like that? Because humanity is not a fixed product. Today, you're sitting under the artificial sun, but 10,000 years ago, you were sitting in a cave. And tomorrow, you will be sitting on another planet. You follow me? So, you can see now that man is a being that progresses. But the secret of man's progress is, who can tell? Are you so ignorant that you can't tell? Have you never heard of the Islamic civilization? Have you never heard of the Judeo civilization? Have you never heard of the Buddhist Hindu civilization? Have you never heard of the Zoroastrian civilization? You must be all very ignorant. I don't know why I'm here today. So these civilizations are predicated upon the teachings of those people. Some we crucified, some we condemned, some we insulted, and some we killed. But the power that brought them enabled whatever they had to give, the message, to succeed in the hearts of the humanity of their time. You follow? So religion is a progressive thing. There is no finality to religion. As the Buddha says, I am not the first Buddha who has come upon this earth, nor shall I be the last. And there will be a Maitreya too. He talks about Kona Kamana, Kona Kagama, and Rama. Each of them acknowledges and says, I am now the 4th, and there will be a 5th Buddha. So there again, Jesus Christ said that if I go not, he the comforter shall not come. Who is the comforter? Did Jesus not come and comfort us? But the word in actual Aramaic is advocate. Advocate means I advocate that that man was right. And do you know who the advocate was? Rasulullah. What did the Rasul say? He says, O people of Arabia, verily I say that Musa and Isa were. That's right. Advocate. But the Rasul also said, if my people are good, they will have a single day in the Quran. And the day he says it will be 1,000 years. Now what's the year today? What's the year today? 1400 years. And what do you find Islam? Islam is torn to bits. And Allah has deserted Islam. Why has Allah deserted Islam? Well, either Allah has deserted Islam, or some other Allah is stronger than the Allah of Islam. Why do I say that? Well, look at the map of the world. Every country in the world, whether it's Arabia or Pakistan or anywhere, who is in charge of those countries? Who is sitting on the head of those countries? The pig eaters are sitting there. Am I right? The pig eaters are sitting on the top of every Muslim country. Doesn't that tell you that something has happened? Doesn't that tell you that? Because is there a single country that can act independently without a Western power saying shut up? Not a single country. Not one. Why is it? Because the 1,000 years is over. And even within Islam, there is division upon division. Sunni against Shia and against Wahhabi and this and that and that and that. So the purpose of religion, which was to unite, religare, is lost now. Finished, gone. So is Allah so stupid or is Allah so dumb that He, after promising that every time there will be a new revelation, has not done that? Of course He has done that. Now that doesn't mean that the Baha'is are the last. They are the ones for today, according to the books of the past. But before all that, is there an Allah? Is there God? Or it's a joke. What is the way to prove the existence of God? Yes, lady. Please, try it. Try. Because if you can't try, then you don't believe that there is Allah. Blind belief is not accepted. You know, in the Qur'an, it says blind belief is not accepted. So try.
There is a creator.
Beg your pardon?
There is a creator.
Not because you say so. You must show by reason.
She hasn't finished.
What is the greatest gift that God has given you and you and you? What is the greatest gift? Sight is the second greatest gift. But the greatest one is reason, aql. Isn't it so? And 3,000 years before Rasulullah, Isaiah the prophet was complaining, and God came to him and said, now look, let's reason together. Because if you reason together, even if your sins are as crimson, I will wipe them as snow. So reason, which the monkey does not have, I didn't mean to point at you, sorry. Is man's gift on this planet. So then, what is the reason that there is a God? What kind of? I've already given the answer. But those who are not listening won't be able to give it. What is the answer?
Intelligence, Akkal, like you said.
No, Akkal is my Akkal, not your Akkal. But I had given the answer and it was one word, also beginning with C.
Cause and effect.
Yeah.
Causality.
Correct. Causality. So wherever you look, you find something that indicates intelligence. Show me something that is not indicative of intelligence, except my behavior. Yes? Show me. Anything? You're pointing at her. Were you pointing at her? Or pointing at that one? Yeah, that fellow is quite possibly proof. He's saying, you're not intelligent, quick. Okay, so now, you can understand that there must be a cause to everything. And nobody is doubting that we are not intelligent, right? So, if we are intelligent, then something bigger than us exists to have created intelligence, right? Now, Baha'u'llah says something very beautifully. The Baha'u'llah is the prophet or the manifestation of the Rasul for this time. And this is very important. He addresses, Rasul also says the same kind of thing, but in different words. Christ says the same thing, also in different kind of. He says, no man hath seen the Father. This is in the Bible. But the Son hath proclaimed him. No man hath seen the Father, but the Son hath proclaimed him. So the Father the creator, Rasul also never saw. Even though angel Gabriel kicked Rasul, you remember? And said, Mount Barak. Remember? So obviously Gabriel was greater than the Rasul for to be kicked. Because he gave him Baha'i. He gave him revelations. And what did Rasul do? He didn't go and meet God. He went to heaven and saw. But he didn't see Allah. Nobody has seen Allah. You understand? Because Allah, or creator, or the cause of all causes, has to be, by logic, outside the spatio-temporal frame. Outside the spatio-temporal frame, which means outside space and outside sequence. Outside temporal means time or sequence. You understand? So if somebody were to say, oh, the Hindus, they're polytheists. They talk about three gods and somebody says this God, but they're right. The Hindus are right. They're really not talking about three gods. They're talking about three attributes of God. Because when there is no sequence, there is no numbers. When there is no sequence, there is no 1, 2, 3. You understand? So the Hindus are trying to tell, the Hindu prophets are trying to tell the people that there are three attributes of God, which is
Creator, preserver, and destroyer.
yes, and
Preserver and destroyer.
that's right. And you find that all in nature, isn't it so? So the Hindus are not polytheists. It is the stupid fellows who blame them who are polytheists. I don't know if anybody here has studied the Gita, but the Gita has a very beautiful statement. It says, it cannot be thought by thought, for thought goes not there. But he is that by which thought can think. But he is that by which thought can think. He is that by which our thoughts can think. But we cannot think of him by thought. Because thought does not go there. Go where? Outside the spatio-temporal frame. Very simple. Not difficult, right? No? Next time you speak. No. So then the whole point is there a creator? And what is the simplest way of proving that there is a creator? The simplest way is that which we had mentioned earlier, that there cannot be any effect, even in our own universe. This thing didn't come about by itself, right? It came about by our hands and intellect. So there cannot be any effect without a cause. You follow me? But there again the Hindus say it very beautifully. In the Gita, it says, Arjuna, immanence is not identity. You know what is the meaning of immanence? If I were to make this table, I am immanent in it. In other words, by looking at the table or the chair, you have some idea about me, but it's not identical to me. So the creation, he is immanent in the creation, but he is not identical to it. Understand? Nothing is identical to him. Neither Rasul or Moses or Baha'u'llah or anybody can define him at all. Baha'u'llah says very beautifully, addressing himself to God. He says, how can I, with my own eyes, I can't see my eyes, claim to have known thee? And then he says, how can I claim not to have known thee when every atom bears witness to thy presence? So he's all around, right? So the purpose of existence is to come to grips with the fundamental issue before mankind. Where are we going? Are we going to knock each other over the head? We have the capacity to do that. Or are we going to understand each other's beliefs, to recognize that within all of us runs a trend which is not just our creation, but God's creation? And how come He is bringing us closer and closer together? You know, the time of Rasul, America was not discovered, right? Discovered in 1492. But at that time, was God very unjust to have brought a Rasul in Arabia and nothing in Arabia and in America? Of course not. So the Americans had their Nabis also. They had Hiawatha, they had others, you know. But the whole purpose was step by step to bring us closer and closer. Now, what is the circumference of this planet? You're very clever. What is the circumference of the earth? You don't know, then get out.
5,000 plus
Eh?
miles.
What?
5,000 plus miles the diameter.
You're off by a factor of 5. 25,000 miles. It's the circumference of the earth, right? The diameter is 8,000, right? It's a very small planet. It's so small that 1,000 of this can get into the largest planet called Jupiter. And 1,000 of Jupiter can get into the sun. And millions of sun can get into one of the stars called Alpha Centauri. So, now, how is it that sitting here, I or you or anybody, has the capacity to grasp all that? Because of the mind. See, the mind is everything. It takes possession of everything. And immortality is its greatest treasure trove. The Buddha said this in the Dhammapada. Okay. So then you can see that the whole purpose of existence is not to get the best cars, the best this, the best that, but to recognize from where we come and where we should be going. So please tell me where we should be going. Anybody?
Heaven.
Well, get the gun, I can put him there right now. Right now I can send him there. Because he asked for it, isn't it? Heaven, Buddha said it very beautifully. He said, in this very life, you can attain nirvana. Didn't he say that in Dhammapada? In this very life. So heaven is not a spot there. It's a condition of the mind. As somebody said, hell is is a soul on fire. Heaven is fulfilled desire. So, if you desire something that you find temporarily, it will be heaven, but it will not be permanent. So then, the whole purpose of a very small planet, which I have just described to you, has to be very different from what we read in the newspapers. What do we read in the newspapers? Fighting all the time, killing, murdering, making bigger weapons, flying bigger aeroplanes, right? Could that be the plan of God? Could that be the plan of the maker of this species, that this species turn crazy and blow itself up? We need 4 hydrogen bombs to blow India and 29 to blow the planet. Now, have we got it? Russia has 1,000. 4 hydrogen bombs sent by our rocket to the moon can crack the moon. And if it's cracked, then all those bits will come to land on our heads. So we are very dangerous people, mostly to ourselves. So the purpose of this evening should be that we should think ourselves, that, and also make others think also, that what is the purpose of existence? We can't live forever. The next stage is death for everybody. Now, if there were two twins in a womb and they could talk, and they would say to each other, hey, what is this very conflicted place, you know, right? And suddenly after the time for birth, one of them gets ejected. The other fellow sitting inside will say, oh my God, he disappeared, he's dead, right? And that fellow who was ejected also comes out crying, frightened to death. Who's laughing? The people around him are laughing, right? You're laughing, you're laughing, you're laughing. Because you have seen something, a new life come, right? So you're all laughing. But that guy is frightened to death. And the guy who is left behind is saying, that guy died. Until he comes out, right? Now, suppose one of us dies and we go to the funeral, everybody's crying, right? How do you know the other guy is crying? Baha'u'llah says it very beautifully. He says, I have made death a messenger of joy to thee. Wherefore dost thou grieve? I have made the light to shed on thee its splendor. Why dost thou hide thyself? So the next plane is the plane of light. If it was not a plane of light, then Rasul would have been crazy. He suffered terribly, didn't he? For what? Then Jesus Christ was even more crazy. He got himself hung. Right? So, but today we don't think they were crazy, right? They were the wisest of the wise, am I right? So then they knew something that we have yet to find out. So, are we not very stupid then? That if we believe this to be true, that we should not prepare for it? Because that is inevitable. Nobody is getting out of this world alive. Not even I. So the whole purpose of this evening is that you should think about fundamental problems that humanity has today and the fundamental answers that God has given to these problems. Because otherwise, you are no different than those who have been deprived of religion, deprived of knowledge. There are lots of guys smarter than all of us. They're making millions of dollars, right? Millions. And they're so busy they have no time to think of anything, right? Tomorrow's stock market, this thing, that thing, right? But if you ask any of them, when they're about to die, saying, hey, can you give me half your billions? I can give you one more year. What will be their answer? Immediately, right? You can see the stupidity of humanity now. See, who is the richest man in the world? The richest man in the world is not Rockefeller or anybody. It is Xi Jinping or Putin. They control the largest countries in the world, right? But they can't stop death. So, why did the Rasuls come? To make us billionaires or to prepare us for the next existence? So, if the Rasuls have come, if the manifestations have come to prepare us for the next existence, and yet we see the Mohammedans are not blind, the Hindus are not blind, the Buddhists are not blind, the Christians are not blind, that there is a lot of divisions all over the place, isn't it? You know, I was in the streets of Karachi, Pakistan, where people were running around the streets saying, kill the Shias. But the Shias are Muslims too, right? Same thing is happening in Iran. The other thing is happening in Afghanistan. Have you not heard of the war between the Protestants and the Catholics? What about the war between the Hindus? Regardless of religion. The Tamils are Hindus, the Punjabis are Hindus, and they're killing each other. What about the Buddhists? You know, one of our Buddhist scholars from Laos said it's a great tragedy that when the Buddhists fight, the first thing they want to burn is the pagodas. But that's the thing, between Thailand and Burma, there's constant, and they're both Buddhists, aren't they? Yes. So today, religion has lost its impact and its glue, because if you have something that is stuck for many years, the glue becomes weak. Now, that's human glue, right? But it can't be the same with the power that brought creation. It can't be God's thing. So God has not done it that way. He has always renewed the glue. He has told mankind that there will be Buddhas upon Buddhas, Christ upon Christ, but in different names, Rasuls upon Rasul. There's never an end. Because without these, you have no civilization. Name me a civilization that is outside the Christian, Buddhist, Judeo-Christian, Hindu, Zoroastrian, any other civilization you know. I can name one, but it's not civilization. But it's the fastest growing religion. And that's a big problem today. The fastest growing religion is because of all of us. We have created disgust among the members of the fastest growing religion, and that is atheism. They say if these guys are religions, then better know God. You see? So we are to blame. So we have to take stock. Where are, not just for us, but for our children. Because our children are something that will carry our memories and power beyond. But if they go astray, then you have wasted your life, isn't it? But many of, even the Baha'is, and it's a very small group, the Baha'is here, very, very small, you know. Some of them complain that our sons have become disenchanted and disinterested. It's the fault of the parents. What are the parents doing? They're going about their business. They're not learning enough to teach the young minds anything. Let me show you something. Here is a card of mine. I always print these cards year upon year, because you know they say a picture is worth 1,000 words, right? The Chinese. So please quickly pass these cards around, just this. Yeah, turn it around. Yeah, that's right. Here on this side. There's somebody else on this side. Remember, these cards have to be returned to me. This side, this side.
Using the Quran. Can I take a picture of it?
Picture of what? You can have it. But only you, because I don't have any more. I don't think I've got any more. I didn't bring any more. I got one more. Anyway, please try and return the card. The main thing, I'm sending these cards out to show you that if I print these cards, to give it to people which contain my address and telephone number, but more than that, it tells you in one shot what Baha'i faith believes in, and that we believe in all the avatars and what each avatar brought and how we look at it. You follow me? Now, I need to know which of the Baha'is have printed cards like this. Please put your hand up. Truthfully. Anybody? There you have it. That's the reason. The Baha'is themselves don't believe in the Baha'i faith. No, they don't. Because the most fundamental statement by Baha'u'llah, the Prophet for our time, the avatar for our time, is to teach, to assist me, that is to assist him, is to teach my cause. So you can understand that if they're not doing it, then they're only behind by name. You follow? And this will continue like that. And soon it may disappear. It won't fight among itself because it's too small to fight among itself. But it will disappear. And this has been going on for decades. I have asked them to do this. Some of these Baha'is have done it. But I don't see them here. You're not one of them. Phyllis is one of them. So you see, you must put your money where your mouth is. And this is an education in one shot, you know. So instead of taking up more of your time, I pose before you 2 points. Prove to yourself that there is a cause of all causes, and that the cause of all causes must ipso facto, must definitely contain more than anything that it has brought about. Any effect, anything. You follow? If you think that there is a lot of intelligence, well, the cause must be more intelligent. You follow? There is a book of mine. Did you bring a copy of my book?
On the table. Take that.
Huh? Anyway, no, not this.
It's on the table.
Where's my big book?
This one?
On that one, yes. So in that book, no, it's quite an expensive book and heavy, and you might get hernia. Just put it there. Yeah. I took out this book when I turned 90. Now I'm 96. And I met kings, presidents, prime ministers, Lee Kuan Yew, Einstein, all these people. You understand? It's in the book. My point is that the whole purpose of writing this book was not only to show what history has happened, but parts of it are devoted to destroying the theory of evolution, for example. You know, evolution says all this came about by chance. But when it's asked to explain chance, it cannot explain. By chance. So, the point is that without a cause, there can be no effect. And the cause must always possess more than its effect. There's no 100% efficiency. So, these are parts of the book that I bring out. And in there also is a picture of the cosmos, which shows that the creator must be outside the spatio-temporal frame. It also mentions the wonderful things in the Quran, where the Quran says Jesus spoke at birth. How many Christians believe it? 0. How many Muslims believe it? Everyone. Otherwise they are not followers of the Quran, right? So you can understand that Islam has done more for Christianity than Christianity has done for itself. And why is that so? Why is that so? Because Rasulullah came after Christ. Like the teacher of the 3rd standard will do something more than the teacher of the 2nd standard, and will remind the students of the teacher in the 2nd standard and what he taught, right? Common sense. So Baha'u'llah says the same thing, that every one of these were Rasuls from God. Now, if someone came, a fanatical fellow came, hand, said, Mr. Fozdar, deny Rasul or I'll kill you. If I denied Rasul, I would deny all the Rasuls. So, who is a true Muslim? A Baha'i. If he came, deny Christ, I would have to do the same thing. So to be a Baha'i is not to be a club member, is to understand the fundamental verities of life through the fact that there is a creator. The creator constantly helps humanity move forward by sending different teachers at different times in different parts, but the net result of those teachers is to bring them all together. Why? Look around. Today, in about 8 hours, we can go around the world. So the world has become a single home. So the teacher for today cannot be for Cambodia and cannot be different from Vietnam. It has to be for the whole world, or it is for nobody. So Baha'u'llah's teachings are very simple: world economic system, a world administrative system, no clergy, no born Baha'is, equality of opportunity for men and women, a world government bringing out a world economic system together in consultation with others. So you can understand. Now those things were not mentioned in the previous dispensation. In the Quran, you don't have equality for the two men and women. You know that. It says if in a court of law you have to bring one man, then two women must go with it. It's in the Quran. Understand? So that means, but it was important to say that because at that time women didn't have the opportunity. You follow? They didn't have it. But today you must have equal opportunity, because look at the Islamic nations. Where women are down, nations are down, right? That's why the pig eaters are sitting on your head. That's why. I mean, look at Afghanistan, the way that they're treating, and they're calling themselves Muslims. What kind of kafirs are they? You follow? So, the whole purpose of today's talk is to make each of us think of fundamental aspects and issues. And the most fundamental of that is there one creator? What is his purpose? How is he resolving that through us, through the various religions? What is the end result of religion? It must come to a point where it must unite. And this is all the Baha'i faith is about. Baha'i faith is a very simple religion, but predicated on the same thing. So, and I hope that the Baha'is who are listening will have the wisdom, which I doubt, but I hope they do, that they will themselves bring out their own card, that by giving it to them, they cover the whole lot, you see. Jesus Christ had proclaimed a new religion. You remember that, right? And a Jewish fellow who didn't believe in Christ met him on the road. And he says, Jesus, son of Joseph, I heard that you're proclaiming a new religion. I don't have much time, he says. But tell me, while I'm standing on one foot. So what did Jesus say? He says, I'm saying nothing, but that you must love the Lord thy God above all, and your neighbor as yourself. And what did that do? The whole Judeo-Christian civilization, right? Kings and people put their crowns at his feet today, right? This was the power of the Rasuls. The same with Muhammad, the same with Krishna, Buddha, everywhere. So that is the way humanity is going. Now, it doesn't mean that after Baha'u'llah that the world will be united and there will be no more Rasuls. No. We will be then so advanced. This is very important for you. We will be so advanced in the Udana that The Buddha says at that time, only 2 diseases will be left. And what are the 2 diseases? Guess.
Aging and death.
Huh?
Aging and death.
No. Death is not a disease for the Buddha. And aging is also not a disease.
Ignorance?
Sleep
Okay.
and defecation. You understand? Disease means the opposite of ease.
Okay.
Sleep. Why is that a disease? Because it's like cancer. Why is cancer a disease? It wastes away your body, isn't it? Sleep wastes away your time. But you will never get rid of it because we know the brain needs to replenish itself by sleep. Right? And defecation, you can do it by not eating. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone who asks a question will be shocked. Because I thought I'd covered everything.
So, thank you, Mr. Fozdar. And in fact, I wanted to have some question quiz. I wanted to ask your guests how young this young man is, but he already revealed.
Surprising.
Yeah, 96, very young.
Surprised.
And
That's
how
my
young?
secret.
How
That's
young
my
is Mrs.
secret.
Fozdar?
That's my secret.
Yeah, and we always ask him what you eat. The way he's still so alert and can remember. Yeah, Mrs. Fozdar. Of course, we must,
Oh, by the way,
goes together.
you know,
And of course, the other question I wanted to ask: do you know who is his mother, who is a women's champion for Singapore?
Mrs. Fozdar. She's a really
well, the important thing is educate the women. So, if you don't educate your women and the man has no time because he's working, the children will remain dumb. Right? Rasul, if you remember, says heaven is at the feet of,
Actually,
but yet, how do they treat the women? They are worse than kafirs, isn't it?
It's
They treat them like dogs, right?
It's a misinterpretation. They don't understand the true Quran, that's why they do that. The equality of women came Rasulullah's time. Before that, women were treated, they used to be buried alive.
Well, one thing, you're going a little bit too far. Because equality of women did not come with the Rasul, but a certain degree of emancipation. Because in the Quran it says that in a court of law, when a case is being discussed, when one man is there, 2 women must go, right? Isn't it Quran?
Yes.
So that's not equal, that's half. But never mind. So be careful what you say. You're talking to a
I
Quranic
don't want to
scholar.
because
You're talking to a Quranic scholar. Tatakalam Arabi? No. Anyway, so, but that's it. But that was a great advance. Because Jesus never said anything. You understand? All he said was, don't divorce. But in the time of Jesus, they had more than 1 wife. More than 4 wives. You understand? And the Jews also had many. So Rasulullah, you can't do everything suddenly.
Exactly.
You must do it gradually. So Rasulullah brought this. Now Baha'u'llah says 1 wife, equality of opportunity. You follow me? So gradually everything. And frankly speaking, since you don't know as much science as I do, males are in a very dangerous spot. We are not needed. We are really not needed. This particular gender can create others. You know that. It's called parthenogenesis. And already animals have taught us that. The shark doesn't need a male shark. It can bring about that. The Caucasian lizard, of course we don't want to be lizards, but it doesn't need the other gender. So be careful, males. Women of the world arise, you have nothing to lose but your men.
Yay, women!
So that's very important. But why then in the Quran it says we created everything in pairs? Why? What
you mentioned, that it was gradual.
Huh?
Because like you say,
No,
education
no,
is
no,
also
no.
enforced upon ladies. If there's one sentence in Quran which says education is compulsory for all,
It
male and
may be,
female.
it may be, but why? Everybody can be educated, but why two genders? He says, in the Quran he says we made everything out of in pairs,
Pairs.
right? Why this monster? Why this monster has a pair? Just because he's a monster. You can imagine a being doesn't need the other side, can inject himself and produce his own kind. Parthenogenesis. He's a terrible fellow. He won't know the attribute of love. He won't know the attribute of sacrifice. He will be a gigantic monster because he can live alone. You understand? It is because of that God in His mercy, as the Quran says, bears.
Okay, thank you very much. Please join me in this yeah, this is a time of continue the conversation. You're most free to stay back. Of course, we have more food. These friends who came late, please.
No, I brought these along
Food.
one day.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes. These were the questions I was going to ask, but you already answered it.
Yeah. And also, sorry, yes, you have questions or what?
One day, have you been to Sri Lanka?
Yes.
Maybe you want to ask him
okay.
directly, yeah? So behind the
Ananda
table.
Maitreya. Have you heard of Ananda Maitreya?